Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
March and April is still outstanding.
right, okay, but the motion here is reading February. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. The committee too approved the sign application as well as the finish up on the renderings on 81 Seascape Lane. And so those are done. And 149 Seascape has requested an adjournment. So we'll start with
You have to do a motion.
okay.
And then adjourn.
Is there a motion for an adjournment of 149 Seascape? Okay. Thank you. Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. And new business, we're starting off with Tom Schultz, Victoria Store. And the address is 51 Wainscott Harbor Road. Very good.
Alright, I'll send Jason the bill. See if you can get the price down on that at all. And I'll send this to Jason right now and tell him.
Can you mute yourself, please? On Zoom?
Okay, so it's a state name and just present the concept that you're working through on the application.
Okay, my name is Victoria Stokes, and the concept of the application is to convert our garage into a den with bookcases and room for a baby grand piano that's currently sitting in our bedroom, which is less than optimum.
Next to the right? Yes.
I like it.
Okay, very good. Are there any additional windows that are going in or anything?
I have renderings that the architect provided. I think you have 2 copies to.
Well,
they have copies
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. So the window to the right of the back door would be no, is that right?
Yes, there would be a new window to the right of the door as you're looking at.
And that's matched on the south elevation.
Yes.
Any other exterior details? No. Okay. Very good. Any questions from the board?
Pretty.
Okay.
You seem to change any of the character, so.
Yeah.
We tried.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
And for the. It's
I
pretty
think
work
the
it-
brick is
Okay.
existing actually, but it's actually covered in hydrangeas, which fortunately are budding this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Is the paint the same, probably the trim color the same? It looks
Um,
black in the picture, I'm sure.
It will be. That's the plan.
All right, very good. Is there a motion to approve? As submitted?
I'll give it.
Okay. And second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you all so much. May I leave or do I need to vote?
Thank you.
Thank you. It's easy.
Are you keeping this one?
I am gonna keep these.
Okay.
I think, yeah, because we got.
Initial that. File copy. Thank you.
This is.
That's Dave.
That's the one that goes with the.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, no, it's not.
Mhm.
It's for you.
Okay, we're up to 1.4, system.
Just give me a section, please. Yep.
I have two.
Get that to John. Let's see these. And the presenter for this is on Zoom.
That's it. Very good. Well,
Hi, Mark, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Can you hear me all right?
We
Yes.
do, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm sorry I can't be there in person with you today. I had a family commitment that was longstanding, but thank you so much for allowing us to present to you today. We are in front of you today seeking your approval to demolish the existing 1970s home at 124 Seascape. In preparation for the eventual new home, which I think you have plans and renderings of in front of you. The process for the new home is well underway. We are on the ZBA committee's hearing for June 14th. And hopefully that hearing will go well for us, and then we'll come back before you to present the new house. But at this point in time, we are just seeking your approval for the demolition of this existing structure.
very good. Thank you. Are there any questions or details that the board wanted to ask about?
No. Questions?
The distance to the water, which is a side stream, is approximately what distance?
Forgive me, let me pull up the survey.
Looks like it's about 20 feet, maybe 25 feet.
Something like that, yes.
Just in case the board is not aware, there is a town conservation board permit in place for this, for the demo.
Okay.
That is correct.
Well, I'm comfortable with the demolition of the house. No.
I'm sorry, was that a question?
No, I was just saying that I was comfortable with the demolition. Of
Oh, okay, great.
Confusing them on the survey. And is that a distance marked on that or not really? How far it is off the water, that's all.
I'm not sure if I could be heard. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry to interrupt this, but I think I have the answer. So I thought it might make things a little bit easier. You're asking the distance of the existing house to the current water line.
Fred.
Okay.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Sorry, my name is David Mansfield. I'm the architect for the project.
Thank you.
Sure.
And Mr. White, the conservation board permit does, I don't have it in front of me, but it does give the dimension, how many feet it is from the wetlands. And if the town signs off that they don't have environmental concern with the distance from the water, the demolition.
But I think it's helpful for the board to be aware of specifics.
The existing dimension to the water line is indicated in the plan is approximately 23 feet 2. That's in the direct, the shortest distance between the outside corner of the house, the existing house. So that puts the house the entire property well within the existing, with the current wetland setback of 75 feet. So the plan is to take the house down and then move the new house back on the site to comply with wetlands.
Right, okay, very good. So is there a motion for that? Demolition?
I'll make it. I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Do you want to discuss anything on that?
I don't know if it's appropriate at this point.
You usually want to see what they put up, that's why.
Right, yeah. We can ask them some questions so they're prepared when they come back, if we have questions. Is there is a sort of a survey. So you'd be placing the new house approximately 44 feet back, is that correct?
That's what we're proposing as of right now. Yes, it does require a zoning variance. And we have made an application for that. And I think, as I mentioned, I think we'll be heard for that on June 14th.
Right. The current structure usually floods out with a hurricane?
I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Some days, even when we have a small storm, most of Seascape goes underwater. But, all right, thank you. Any other questions?
No.
At this point? Okay.
No.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You just clean it.
No, I don't need. You want this as well?
Here you go. Thank you.
Just give me that house.
Thank you. Okay, so next is number 2 is definition. section, and it's for 118 Sag Main Street. Matt?
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm Max Preston with Preston Development. We're a builder as well as the builders rep, 118 Saturday.
My name is Ricardo Romero. I'm architect for the property.
So, should I start?
We're gonna discuss the demo first, so not the new construction now. I'm just trying to find that. That's the short one, right? That's just at the top sentence on it. It's right in front of you.
Yeah. Here, you want to look at this one? Yeah.
Yes, actually, my church secretary used to own that house.
Recently or going back,
Back when it was first built, yeah.
you'll have to tell me our estimate of when it was built, so it's
Um,
accurate.
it's pretty accurate, yeah. Her first husband had passed away. Yeah, most of the kids are out of the area as well.
C of O we have is from 1975, is that correct?
Yeah, we had gone around, we didn't have access to the CFO, we got around the early 80s, but
Understood, thank you.
Any questions from the board regarding the existing structure?
No, I'm comfortable with the demolition.
Same.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Let me just find my. All right. So. Is there a motion to approve the demolition?
I'll make it.
Okay. Second.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So now, Claudio, we could hear from you on that, but we need to sign off on the documentation. Hold on to this.
Yes. No, you.
I have that.
Start?
Yes.
So we are proposing a two-story gable roof house with a attached one-story two-car garage and a separate pool house, swimming pool, and a sunken tennis court on the backyard. This house that we're proposing, it's to the garage, which is the closest to the front property line, is 89.5 feet from the property line. The two-story structure roughly starts at about 110 feet from the property line, which basically adding the 25 feet of between the curb of the edge of the pavement and the property line, the main house will end up starting 135 feet roughly from the street. The house that we're proposing is 5,669 square feet. With the two-car garage is 490 square feet, which is attached to the house. The pool house is 517 square feet, so the total combined area brings us up to 6,880, when we are allowed 6,900 for the GFA. The house is a 6-bedroom house, 2 stories with a finished basement. There is a gable roof that we're proposing it to be standing seam. And the siding of the house, which I have some samples here, is a horizontal wood cladding. And the 1-story garage will be clad in a porcelain stone that I also have samples here that I can share with you, that it resembles limestone. The idea, we were asked to provide renderings that will show the house under winter conditions with no leaves, but the idea is, as you can see in one of the renderings, that the 1-story car garage, which is at the front of the house, in the summer it will be completely camouflaged by a row of horn beams in front, but then in the winter you would see it. And the idea for making this garage be a flat roof, only 1 story, and not do a gable over it, is so that we wanted to kind of identify the simplicity of this like rectangular gable 2-story structure behind it. We thought that if we added another roof line in front, it would kind of take away from that. So we just we wanted to emphasize on the simplicity of just this rectangle with a gable roof. On the rear side, it's I mean, if you look at it from the sky, it's more like a C shape. So you have the long horizontal gable, and then you have on either end, you have perpendicular gables that face the pool area. Basically, you enter through a single driveway. On the left, you have 4 parking spots. And then what you see on the right is the vehicular turning area to access the garage from the side. So you don't see the garage doors from the street, they're facing the side. Then we also have a pergola over the entryway to the house, and we also have a pergola connecting the pool house to the main house. The pool they were proposing is 20 by 50, 20? Yeah. And the tennis court will be sunken under the existing topography with a 4-foot retaining wall around it. Our idea for the garden is basically on the street level. We will do a combination of evergreens and deciduous trees that will screen the house. A row of linden trees on either side of the driveway. And just also do natural kind of wild grasses and bushes in most of the property, but do a lawn area around the backyard, around the pool and stuff for like usable garden space. But the idea is that we will try to keep a lot of the property just have a natural feel. That's for the landscape. Then I guess for elevations, we were asked also to provide a ratio of glass versus solid on each side. So the side facing the street, we have, you can see on page 200, with that one. We have our concentration of glass is over where the stairwell will
I
be.
don't think we have that
So sorry.
documentation.
Okay, you also, I don't know this.
With-
This is just rendered.
Oh, okay. I picked this up earlier.
That's it.
So if you can just email this to us, so we have it in
Yeah,
record.
the town should have everything, and we have emails and they also hard copies, no?
Yeah, and of course, anything that, or whatever we
Both.
discuss.
We can provide whatever you need.
Just making sure that everything that we combine here is also on our record.
Is it in this stuff, maybe?
No, it was a set, that's the set of
what I
renderings, there
see.
was a set of drawings.
That's what I'm missing.
Right.
Which is what's on the screen,
Yeah,
actually.
so that's what I would love to see.
We don't have,
What's that?
this is the same as what you have.
Oh, but can I have that? Cause I don't, only Thomas has that. Yeah, that's what I would love to see. Thank you.
Everybody could
But
see.
again, it doesn't have.
It's the same as.
That's okay. I just, this is.
Right past these guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those were the supplemental. Yes.
Yes, no, I know. That's why that's not new.
Yeah, this is just images.
Yeah.
Anything else, anyone? Just images.
Right.
Also, each of those day view renderings also have a nighttime view, so to give you an idea of how
Right.
it will be seen from the street at night. The biggest concentration of windows is in the middle, and this is the street facing side. Again, it's 135 feet from the street. That area is the stairwell, but the stairwell would have a light penetration film on the glass, so it wouldn't be completely transparent. And this is also to stop light from coming out, also for privacy, because, you know, like, especially on the second floor, like, to give the owner of the house just to privacy from the street. The smaller windows on the side are bedrooms, hallways, the front door, but as you can see, the biggest concentration is right in the middle. And since you don't have the sheets, I'll give you those numbers.
Oh, you don't have the sheets in hard copy?
Right. So the glass percentage on the front, the facade is 23.93, so basically 24%. When we go to the southern and northern elevations, which are the ones facing the neighbors, which will be 202 and 203. And that's so those percentages reduce considerably. So on the south side, which is that one, we have 7.89% of glass versus the solid. We on the pool house, which is on the lower left side that you see, on the pool house we do have more, but just to that basically will be on the farthest side of this elevation. So basically that pool house is not facing the neighbor too close, it's on the opposite. It's located on the north side of the property. Then when we go to the next elevation, which will be the northern side.
And you give us a number for the north,
For the pool house.
for the north exposure, yeah.
Oh, for the north exposure, it's 3%.
That includes the pool house.
No, this is a north exposure. So the one for the south, which is the other side that has a pool house, it will be the main house is 7.89%, and the pool house is on that side. The pool house is 41%. But I don't have. I can give you quickly. I can calculate on my phone a combined version of those.
Okay. And the west?
The west side is the one facing the back of the house, and that one is 57.44%. That is sheet 201, 8201. That. I guess in 2D it's hard to see. I guess you'll appreciate more in the renderings, but basically the ground floor, it has everywhere there is some sort of awning or a balcony on the second floor. And that middle section, the second floor cantilevers out 18 inches from the ground floor. So basically the whole glass area is set inwards on the elevation.
Yeah.
On the sides, we also have, on the left side, we have an awning that you don't really appreciate in simple elevation. And on the right side, we also have a balcony on the second floor that cantilever. So again, those ground floor windows are set inwards from what you see there. Yeah, I mean, I believe that those are the basics. I can answer any questions you will have.
Yeah, having grown up here, and Main Street being what it is, it's just a little bit out of character, especially when it's right next door to a old historic farmhouse, which was the Wilford residence. I just find it kind of arguing with the historic district, and part of our challenge is to try and interpret what works well within that concept and what's not too disruptive for the folks that live here. Basically, that's what we're charged with. So to me, it's kind of a point of mass, the lighting and just the general style. We try to keep things more in tune, attempt to keep things more in a natural context of surface. And you mentioned some of the material in the garage that's kind of outside of the traditional scope. I can't speak for anybody else, but it tends to be a little out of character for something that's nearby the historic district.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not sure how the rest of you feel.
I agree.
Well, just for the edification of the board, the fact that it is next to or near, I believe it's 2 properties or 1 property or tax lot away from the historic district, that itself is an event for it. But as I've said before, the board has the power under 245-73 B2 specifically to consider striking dissimilarity with neighboring properties. So that is the task at hand, is to discuss how this property is or cannot or can find more symbiosis with the neighboring properties.
I think they've made an effort with pitched roof. Made an effort with the wood siding. The one thing that I think is jarring is the way the windows protrude from the elevation. You know, I mean, I just think that's a little, it adds to the, you know what I'm saying? It would be more traditional if those were flush. I don't think it's. Let me see I like the front elevation from the street. May I see that again up on the board?
Just a question for the board is, would the board like is more focused on what's seen from the street and let's say a little more lenient on what happens in the back of the house?
Interestingly, I actually think the back is a lot more traditional. And feeling more like cyclonic than the front, and I know that that's gonna make it complicated, but
This
that's
is
just my
porcelain,
opinion.
the piece sticking out right. from
Yeah,
the
it
stairs.
has the samples here.
Yeah.
And we you know, I guess having the owner of the property next to me, but I think we discussed earlier that we could switch that to be wood if you didn't want the stone to be in the front.
So, yeah, I mean, our objective is not to.
You could also eliminate the I guess the overhanging bay windows in the front, we could also.
Right. Makes it.
And just put in the facade.
Interesting picture is wood,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me, protruding windows, and there's a lot I like about the architecture. But I do think somehow the back has a more traditional feeling to it than the front feels a little bit blocky, and I do agree that they've made an effort with the roof.
The stairwell, it reads blocky, but I think the idea of having a flat roof just over the stairwell section is so that we don't distract from the gable behind it. And also I played with several options, and we also played with doing a gable over the garage, and it just didn't look right. But again, I guess we could make it more traditional by just changing the siding and just playing with the windows and
Yeah, but
things.
the
So
6 block of windows is just, that's a lot on Main Street there, as you're approaching through the village.
May I just ask a question about that? Maybe I missed April, but so this is wood on the front.
that is what, yes.
So now you're moving away from that.
No, so the only thing that we're proposing to be stone is that what's over here will be this wall over here, and which has this cantilevering louvers, it's basically a pergola over the entry, and this wall over here. That we're showing winter trees with no leaves, but in reality, in the rest of the year, this will be covered, but we could accommodate to change it and make it all wood, if that was what the board recommended. I mean, our intention obviously is.
Well, yeah, this image that I have is wood, but that
Is wood.
it is around the window?
Around the,
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Up on the street.
Correct.
no, it is wood, yeah, it's wood.
A different sort of wood.
Yes, yeah,
This is-
yeah. It's a different, basically, we have two tones.
In the front elevation,
We have
maybe they
to-
like that.
We have two tones of wood, yes, I have them here, actually.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I thought it didn't look like it looked like it was.
And the renderings, like it's basically the main house will be more like this with some texture. And then the stairwell and the window protrusions will be a smoother, slightly off-tone wood.
Is there a name to those things?
Let's try that out.
Yeah, they are in the back.
Because this is all, right,
So this is a company, they do thermally modified wood, which is real wood, but they just, through a process, they modify it so it lasts a lot longer, and also it maintains the color.
So which one is going to, this is the
So
house?
this is the one going around the stairwell and the windows and the awnings. So it's a Koya,
so that's the windows as well. What company makes them?
the Delta Millworks, yeah. It's a Koya smooth. Salt flats is the name of the stain.
Salt flats.
And the main block of the house would have a Koya barnwood. And the stain is fire clay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Fine, fine.
I can see how the renderings could cause some confusion about,
It's a little deceiving.
Do we know how they weather? Is what we're seeing there, how it will weather? It will stay that light gray?
Ricardo.
Basically, one of the benefits of this is that the weathering, you will still have to treat it for how do you say, when the black stuff starts growing in it, I'm missing the word now. But the mold, so you'll have to clean the mold whenever it grows, that's inevitable. But the color, what the company stands by is that it would maintain the color for much longer than regular stain. I do like that it's kind of an in-between of gray and beige, it's not too going one way or the other, but I guess with time, as there is some dirt accumulating in it and maybe some mold, it could change.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the color.
That's the same product that was being proposed on 149. Just a different color.
Okay. Well, looks, be interesting to hope it is in the sunlight instead of the shininess.
So then the only stone part suggested is the garage,
The garage.
not the part with the pergola. And the part with the pergola.
Well, so we have the wall of the pergola
Right, that's from there over.
That whole.
and this.
Yeah.
I guess that being said, if we were to be allowed to have some stone, we would really like this wall to be stone, but we will have no problem changing this to wood.
Okay.
So that would be, I think, that's something that, but if we were to be allowed to have some stone in this house, it would be the wall on the left side, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still concerned about the just sheer mass. It's 186 feet off the street, is that what you said?
No, it's 100, so the garage part is
Right.
89.5 from the property line.
Okay,
And then you add 25 feet, so it's 115 from the street.
Yeah.
And then the main massing of the house, it's a further 20 feet behind.
No, I understand that, yeah. It's just the visual mass that
Also,
takes its toll on the historic sense. Or sensitivity that we are charged with.
If there's any way you could incorporate some of these, you see gables, you know, on the front,
in the front.
maybe that's kind of what they're talking about, you know, to. So it's not so monolithic.
So simple, as just
Yeah,
one.
just some of, like you have on the back,
Yeah,
you could bring them through, I don't
through
know,
the sides.
yeah, bring them through
Yeah.
to the front.
We can play with the roof lines and see what we
You
can.
could.
Yeah.
What room is on the second floor above the stairs in the front?
So basically, when you get to the second floor, so you come up here, and this is the hallway, and that is a 10. So it's an open area. So it's a little living room for the family to hang out. And then on this side, it will be the primary room, and then these are the other rooms on the other side.
So that's a room that's gonna be used quite frequently with a lot of glass right on Main Street.
Yeah, we're proposing to do like a privacy film on the glass. So the idea is that it would allow, I guess, that the clear versus film, it will be a percentage. It wouldn't be 100% transparent. And so there, most likely, probably the owners will have some sort of privacy shade down, because I don't think anybody wants to at night be walking around in their privacy and be seen from the street. But you know, at some point we consider putting louvers, but then it will make the house too contemporary. So we went back took it away from that. But yeah, to your point, it will be a common area, the one that is there. It's not right on the window, it's on the opposite side actually, but because that's almost a double height space of the stairwell, that second floor window. But the room is, yeah, then it comes a hallway, and then you have the room after.
Well, I'm struggling with this being in the historic district.
This isn't in the historic district, it's 2 tax lots
This is
away.
not,
2 houses down, but next to.
how far is it?
They're saying the new structure would be 115 feet.
Feel like
Yeah.
the very side piece is historic, right, because that's
Right.
on Main Drive. And that's why they're low.
yeah. I would like to see more traditional elements to the house.
I'm asking if it is.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, just so that I can have, I guess, guidance for the next meeting. To make the massing more traditional, is there an objection to the materials proposed, or not necessarily?
It really depends on where you're putting it and how
Yeah.
much exposure you're giving it. I just find it out of mass and light emission.
Here's a house on Hedges next to the post office, right? It has a pitched roof. And it has a similar color to this, actually,
Okay.
although it's shingles. But I think it's it's not in the historic district. I think it's a precedent for a more modern, cleaner line. And it would complement this, I feel.
Okay. I mean, I am, my goal as a architect is to get this house approved, and so with the more advice that I can get, so that I can go back to the drawing board and change it.
And you're looking for less lighting out of the rear? Or in general?
At least out of the front, yeah. The rear is at 57%. That's pretty high for us.
And the renderings are a little deceiving because there's curtains shown that feel more like it's being blocked.
Right,
So
yeah.
that is a lot. What is behind Behind there is
The swamp, it's basically Pike's lawn.
Besides the farm,
and then,
And then the swamp, yeah.
and then.
you have
what's
a
the
farm
other-
on one side and on the other.
Like that,
Just-
past that.
It's actually the short
Nature
L, so directly west of the lot is a portion of the farm, and it's that it's not called an L section of the farm. It's maybe, I guesstimate 100 feet wide, and then the sag swamp between that.
Right, yeah.
And obviously, I mean, we understood there would be sensitivity to glass.
Right.
The part of, the north-south exposure, which is, as you drive north-south on Sagamine, we almost have no glass at all.
Right, but the thing is that when you illuminate the back of the house at 57, all of that shines out, and it adds to this whole night glow thing that we're trying not to have in the village. We have guidelines for directive lighting on the stoops and so forth that be down, and yet it's still an issue when you get a foggy night. It's the whole place just glows. So I would encourage a lot less glass.
That's helpful feedback. Obviously, this is our first go at this. I mean, we've been trying to go through a number of iterations to get to where we are. Now, I will say Ricardo mentioned this, there is an overhang element in the back.
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure how much that will.
Right, yeah.
Are there, that's a balcony?
On the right side is our
Yeah,
balcony.
is there a railing?
It's a glass railing, yes.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, it's, I guess you will have to look, probably I will have to print them bigger, but it is a glass railing in the back. On the left side is not a balcony, on the left side is just like basically an overhang.
Yeah, the glass railings will pick up the light too,
Yeah.
and
That could be changed to a rod.
Yeah.
Real.
cabling.
I think when you look at this, I don't know the page number, but it's the driveway view, if you're driving into the driveway. And what you're seeing is that box, which is the garage, which I appreciate you didn't want to put a roof on, because you're letting the roof behind it show, which I also appreciate. I just think that that's more of the sight line, the view, if you're walking or biking by, that, it feels maybe too modern in terms of the more traditional character of the village.
The front yard is just plain. Well,
There's,
It's
I mean, I
grass.
see that.
Yeah, so the front yard, basically on either side of the driveway, there'll be like some medium-sized trees, like linden trees. Then at the end, in front of that wall of the garage, we are proposing 3 horn beams, European horn beams. And then the screening of, I guess, the front property line will be a mix of deciduous and evergreens. And then the idea is that instead of just having a lawn, I mean, that whole area that in reality is not usable area, and it's wild. Like the idea is that it just feels wild.
because the focus of the play.
Yeah, and then we want to keep the lawn areas around the pool and areas that will be usable. But anything that is not is the idea just to have it feel like a wild landscape.
Is the new house situated further back on the lot than the old
It's
house?
literally the survey has the dash underneath. It's almost the same.
Okay.
However, the main house, the proposed one-story garage that we're proposing is closest to the street. But the existing house, it's almost to the line, very close.
You don't have, I'm just asking, you don't have a survey with the proposed structure on it?
That should be part of the site plan. We do have a survey as well as a site plan that should mimic the survey.
So that one has a proposed
We don't have that in hand.
Oh.
That's the only one.
I have the large ones, so you can.
Okay.
I've only got 3 of these.
So there's a lot going on in that proposed survey, but you will see the dash of the old house is right here. And then you see the steps. And then it goes back here, so this dash line is the existing houses. There right now. Those steps and then the front part here.
Yeah.
Also because of the closest to the water table.
Thank you.
The septic that is proposed and the dry wells are very shallow, so that's why you see all those boxes throughout the properties, just because we have a very shallow system of dry wells and the septic.
You said the dotted was the existing, correct?
Yes, correct.
I see. Actually, it's just this.
Right, yeah.
Dots. Yeah, but it's existing to be removed.
Okay, so I think you've gotten some feedback. Having not had a chance to study all of this stuff yet, it would be good for us to do a little bit more. Okay. Looking and thinking on it as well. So at this point, I think I'd like to adjourn. For the date of the next meeting.
The next meeting is June 24th, so we'd have to have some new information by the 14th.
Okay.
Please.
I think if we can also take into consideration less glass on the back, that 50 in the 50s is very, very high.
So I guess the main suggestions are just make the front more traditional and less glass on the back. So, but materials, depending on how we end up using them, there is no objection to the materiality of the surfaces.
Correct.
And so if I can also just clarify, just directionally for us as we look to tweak the plans and take your comments into consideration. So as far as the front facade, the rear is fairly straightforward, a matter of glass percentage. But making more traditional is, is a little, it's very broad.
I know, I know.
I think the general consensus, and I know it's a bit mixed, is generally the architecture is not terrible, more attractive in something depending on, right? So obviously there's the sensitivity to the glass. I'm not sure, I guess we could play with the
It is also, I guess, style. We can play with the roof lines to make it less long or.
Right, the thing is the depth works.
Yeah.
The visual mass is just pretty darn intense with
okay.
this. Being the house was 57,000 or 5,000.
5,660, yeah.
Yeah, and just also for the record, the house is actually below its GFA, the pool house bar.
I understand.
From the house.
Yeah.
Would there, in this effort to make the house look more traditional,
Right.
would there be?
Keep in mind that traditional also is a comment or an observation that the house you are talking about is maxed out. None of the traditional style in Sagapon maxed out the entire footprint of the property.
Well, Tom, if they're allowed to buy the zoning,
No,
to have
I
that footprint, they
understand
can have
that,
that footprint.
but I'm talking about historical perspective. Okay, that's part of this discussion. And I don't think that every single thing that comes up on Main Street should be or needs to be maxed out visually. If you wanted to extend the depth of it, where it's not so visually apparent from the street, that's a move in that direction that we appreciate. So making the structure deeper and less wide on the visual of Main Street would be a step in that would be helpful.
They made it pretty deep. I mean, they've gone back pretty far with this house, with the pool house and the tennis court and everything.
Yeah, it has also two perpendicular sections on either side.
Right.
I know.
We are proposing, these windows without any mountings or mullions, like, is that also a problem? Would you like to see more dividers in the windows in an effort to make it fit, or that's not necessarily?
Yeah, from the plans that you provided today, I couldn't even make out the size of the window.
Mhm.
So if you can get that to us, that would be helpful in that concept of assessing.
Okay,
And do you want information on the tinting?
That would be helpful too, yeah. Some specifics on that.
I did not answer your question on the mullions. It does help, I think, the glass wall feeling to break it up a little bit. But I understand, in the modern design, that's not necessarily what you're going for. So I don't really know how to answer that question.
But you have some on the back of
They
the
have
house.
some on the
in
back.
the back, yeah, we have a
Right.
combination of trans and.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
It's more of a modern design, but at least it's, it's something.
I certainly like the cleanness of the style and the design.
It's just that we're too close to the historic district.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, if there are any comments, we come back
Thank you very
and
much.
Thanks.
hopefully get closer.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
With the favorites. Opposed? Good, thank you.
I got back to you.
We want to be having this.
Yes. Place to come in to the office.
You what? Be recycling.
Oh, no, they ordered the trailer.
Not really. But if we need them for next month, I keep.
What's that?
No, not all of a sudden, so I'll be able to have it actually. Yes, so, see which ones, I don't know.
Okay, so, next up is, application by Zag Hedges LLC. And the address is 414. This is the closer house to the back of the historic Keeping Hedges house, which I can't remember the day, so last structure at the moment, but the place is 338, right?
Yes.
So if you'd like to go ahead, please introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Randy Renault. I'm the architect for the project. This is also Dan Thorpe from Morty Design. He's the landscape architect. And he'll be presenting the landscape and how we kind of developed the design together. Kind of walk you through some of the important aspects of that. We have a 2-acre site that is a flag lot off of Hedges Lane. And this is a new construction project. There's currently nothing on that lot. It's
Right.
vacant.
We got to see the last owner many times.
We're proposing a 7-bedroom house with a sunken tennis court, attached two-car garage. The overall kind of feeling of the house, I would say it's relatively restrained. It is a series of gabled structures that have more of a modern influence connector that kind of carries you through some of the entry elements. There's a 2-story family wing, and then there's a 1-story guest wing and living room on the first floor. The house is set 200 and so feet, 200 plus feet from the road.
I'm sorry, Ray, what did you say again? How many feet to the roof?
It's over 200 feet.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's down flag driveway.
Okay.
We've come up with more or less an L scheme that embraces the backyard, and I think that you'll see in some of the renderings, you know, the one of the things we tried to capture in the overall design is number one, very modest, understated kind of architecture. There's a mix of modern components, but also very traditional components. So we're taking advantage of views for the landscape in the backyard with some larger glass elements on the first floor. But on the second floor, we're using more of a traditional kind of double hung in a shingle, natural shingle wall. So that kind of lends itself to more of a historic type of building. We also tried to take advantage of the depth of this lot. So the tennis court is placed into the rear yard, and the pool cabana has a very open flow and open view. The windows on the pool cabana actually face in towards the opening. So when you're in the pool and you're at the arrival point in the entry, you kind of see directly through and you see the landscape, which is really important. And I think with that, that's something I can introduce Dan.
Good afternoon, Dan Thorpe, landscape architect for the client with Warrior Designs Group. I think it might be best if I just walk you quickly through the booklet we assembled that some of you are already flipping through it now, but I think if digitally, if we could just open that up and I could explain the site design a bit and our approach to keeping things agrarian and natural property. And we're also, I think it's important to walk you through the existing neighboring context and the impact that this project might have on the surrounding neighbors. Okay, perfect. I just want to start flipping. All right, so here's the site plan. Maybe we can zoom it a little, but the red tags around the site plan are the neighboring views that I'm going to walk you through in a second. But the way the site lays out is the driveway comes down the long flag lot, and then it's going to take that kind of S curve through a proposed naturalized meadow area. The building envelope is kind of tight around the building, so that's kind of where the parking has to go, kind of in the entry L courtyard of the house. So that'll be the parking, and then there's an entry. There's an entry garden that's wrapped in a grove of cherry trees. To the north of the house is the garage. So there's like a spur off of the S in the driveway to get back to the garage, which is concealed. On the back side of the house, there's a proposed swimming pool with surrounding terraces. And then you can see the tennis court to the northwest, which is sunken and surrounded by dense landscaping. So not even the owner will really see that it's there. The proposed lawn is restrained to just that southwestern corner of the property, and the rest of the property is planted with either perennials or naturalized meadow. that we have a fairly robust plan for how we're gonna approach the screening around the 4 sides of the property, which I can walk you through now. If you want to go to the next one. Thank you. So this is a bird's eye view that's kind of helpful in explaining. This is a winter shot too, so you can kind of see the evergreen versus the deciduous, but our lot is in the middle of the screen. You can see the orange construction kind of fences that help define some of it. That's actually not the front property line, that's just part of the front property line is all the way at the bottom there, the row of evergreens. So long flag lot, kind of set between 2 other parcels. This is the view from that historic frontward neighbor's backyard towards our site. There's an existing, very healthy, mature row of cryptomerian trees, which will continue to grow. I mean, they're probably 1/3 of their future size current day. So the next page kind of shows, because we're so far set back, how the building kind of is going to sink below those and out of view. We are proposing additional, quite a fair amount of additional evergreen plants on the other side of this hedge as well, which is going to further screen the house. And this is the existing neighbor to the south, looking towards our lot. They have a hedge already that's 8 feet tall, and then we have some proposed plantings on our side. And then this is looking kind of from the west down towards our property, which is going to be, we're proposing along that entire western boundary. That's the vacant lot that is about to go under construction. Along that whole property line, we have proposed 16 to 18 foot evergreen arborvitaes. And this is from the north, looking down a lot. So there's a long flag lot driveway already there. There's a hedge that exists on the other side of the hedge. We're also proposing fairly robust row of evergreen trees. So here's just a shot kind of driving through the entry meadow towards the front of the house. Using like low stacked stone walls to be a little more agricultural in our approach to the materiality of the landscape. You can see the building is only a single story in the front, and then it's a double story on the right side wing. Large deciduous trees to kind of mask the volumes of the building. This is approaching the garage. We have all of our like pool fencing kind of hidden with hedges. This is from the pool house looking back at the house. And then this is from the house looking back down the length of the pool, through the pool house into that lawn zone. So we're trying to weave a lot of greenery and vegetation throughout the house and using deciduous trees to kind of mask the building strategically. There's a vegetable garden on one side of the house. And then these are some of the night renderings. It's pretty restrained east to glass, I'd say, on the building, yes, and the outward facing parts of the building.
Especially up on the 2nd floor.
The landscape lighting program is just half lighting. So nothing upward facing. And then this is kind of looking into the pool courtyard off the back of the house. And then looking down the length of the pool course. And then this is just a site plan again, and the yellow dots are all of our path lights. I think that's the last.
One of the concepts, as you can see in some of those renderings, is that the pool cabana kind of disappears into the landscape. You know, you're seeing mostly through that structure. Your eye is drawn directly through the center of it. We've got the roof line very thin. Will be planted out with a green roof. All of the views to the landscape and to the terraces and access will be through the first floor doors. So you really get a sense of the depth of the property. In keeping things very natural here.
The pool house closes, right? That's glass.
No, that's open.
That will never be closed.
So it'll never be closed. Yeah. They have a small, refrigerator and kind of kitchenette area, I guess snack bar area. There's some storage. Then there's an outdoor shower that's actually enclosed in that area and a small powder room. So the program is really minimal. We're also proposing to put the pool equipment in the lower level of that space. So there would be no noise objections or anything like that.
It's 2 acres, you said?
Sorry?
Did you say it was
2 acres. Yes, just over 2 acres.
It's beautiful design.
I agree.
That's obviously very strange.
It's a nice mix of traditional with some modern touches, just like you said.
Yeah, we kind of knew what we'd expect to see in this, particular lot or in this proximity to this
Yeah.
historical district. Everything is going to be clad in Alaskan yellow cedar. It'll just be left to naturally weather. The window frames will be black. It's a sample here. I'm thinking of Marvin products, aluminum clad. And we actually have, instead of bringing a full stone sample, I've got a picture of the stone we're proposing to use. This would be full thickness mix of granite blend. We've used this on other projects, actually here in the village as well, and it's very successful.
What elevation, what are the measurements of those block?
The percentages,
The dimensions,
the dimensions of the glass panels.
it looks like the DO5 and the DO7.
I believe that they are 4 foot by 10 foot.
10 feet high.
Yes, 10 feet high.
So those panels are 16 by 10, is that right?
Yes, 16 foot slab. The intention of that room on the end is to be used as a kind of indoor-outdoor room. There'll be a dining table in there. They would like the ability to have basically a bi-party sliding door so they can put a screen across. So that's going to be kind of their screened-in dining room. But instead of building it as a screened-in porch, they may want to use it in shoulder seasons. Therefore, we're putting glass doors.
The screens would pull up or down or.
They would be from the side, kind of a cassette system. But we were advising them to use the glass panels because they want to use it in the shoulder seasons. And as we know, in the summer, if there's a really hot day, they may want to close it and use their air conditioning.
I think it's really nice. I think it's a really nice project.
Thank you.
It's too bad you won't be able to see it. It's right, it's all hidden.
We'll do a garden park.
I also like the design a lot. My only question was gonna be about those windows, so Tom already asked. I don't know, the percentages here, just. Can you read them off, the percentages sort of
Sure.
afterwards?
I have them on the elevation. We just have a dog for that.
It's A204.
Yeah, so the south elevation, we're looking at 27.24%. On the east elevation, which is the one that kind of faces the flag driveways, that's 16.6%.
So I'm gonna tell the board again, we have the ability, we have the authority to look at the amount of glass, but only in the lens of, is that contributing to a striking dissimilarity or monotony with neighboring structures? Or is it gonna create the danger of light trespass and sky glow? So I understand our concern with percentages, but we need to couch that less in terms of a hard and fast percentage and more in the design. Is this a problem with monotony or dissimilarity, or is it a problem with light extrusion?
Totally understood. For me, it just, the numbers help to
It's-
just visualize it.
Because oftentimes the drawings can be a little bit misrepresentative.
No, we're
of what
renderings,
is-
it's just targets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
the north elevation, we're at 34%. And the west elevation, we're at 21%. Pretty low. Considering that they want to take advantage of the views of the backyard only, I mean, this is not a two-story
Yeah.
glass box. This is, all of the glass is constrained to the first floor.
Yes, that's helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Very much.
I'll take it.
It is.
And then
We've been
digest it a little bit.
We've been working on it for months. So
Yes.
just, you know, for us, it's.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Currently, is there any treated glass under configuration?
Any of the glass?
Yeah.
In the past, we have used, like a sun guard 68, which would reduce the visible light transmission.
By how much?
It actually reduces it by, what is it, 32%. So,
Do you have specs on that?
we do, and we've used it on other projects. We used it on 274 Townland Road. It was approved by the village. But I believe those percentages were a bit more. But we could use those on the larger panes if that, you know, would help. Again, I think the property is going to be surrounded by beautiful landscaping. And I think that, you know, we really want to appreciate that landscaping from the inside as well. We could provide a glass sample if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
I think it's like a thoughtful project, you know, done in a very considered way. Designed very well.
They're not, it's not a baker using this stuff.
Just buying this for my mind. The doors behind you are 4 feet wide, each door, is that correct?
They look to be about 40 feet wide.
Right, so each of these large panels is 4 doors next to each other, right? But they'd be 10 feet high.
Yeah, there are some sections that have 3 panels. They're not all 4 panels.
I'm just trying to, we look at a set of plans and it doesn't really take into our minds within that perspective. But sitting here inside this room and we take 4 of these doors and put 3 sets of, so you have 12 panels of glass. In that one end of the room, right, on the west. Am I
Yes.
just reading that?
More or less forced internal.
Yes. But it's just trying to get us to understand, we look at a set of plans and we often will not have the perspective of what it's gonna look like from the street. Sometimes we get a set of plans and the house looks like it's so small back there, and then all of a sudden it gets built and it's just this
Yes.
monster. And
I don't think you'll see any of those,
I'm just trying to
Those
get into the
panels,
board's
yeah.
mind to understand
Right,
the
the road.
perspective of the space and so.
understood. Yeah. 40% is 40%. Yeah. We also did, develop this project with a lot of one-story structure,
Oh, I understand that.
so. That definitely helps.
It's appreciated, but it's still a fair amount of glass there.
You know, I mean, the square footage,
Yep, square footage, our main house, GFA is 7468. That's the first installment.
and the other structure,
The pool cabana is 116 square feet. And it has a roofed over covered porch area of 400 square feet. You have an attached garage of 524 square feet. And there's a dining trellis of 288 square feet, I believe. Yes,
that you're basically counting up the box that kind of. Is that,
the dining trellis is shown in a different view. That's, so, yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
It's adjacent?
And that's meant to be kind of an independent structure that just lives over that outdoor dining area.
Is it attached to the house? or is
No,
it
it's
separate?
completely independent.
Thank you, helpful.
Mhm.
So I think if you were to introduce that glass, and bring those numbers down by, 32%. That would drop those into the 20s. The highest percentage we have is about 34%. A lot of clients prefer that actual sun guard glass because it will reduce fading and
Oftentimes it's an
Solar.
energy efficiency
It is.
concept, but it actually doesn't. It draws it down a little bit, but.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And the owners have plans on motorized shades, for sun and for blackout. So I know that doesn't necessarily always apply.
It's only up to the willingness of the occupant, yes. Some are willing and some are not.
But they will be there.
Mhm. Okay. Very good. So if we can get that information, the time frame was the 14th, is that correct?
The 24th is the meeting, and the 14th would be the 5th.
We can drop off a glass sample tomorrow, but
I love everything about this house, but I don't think it's the right thing to do to approve that much glass around the first floor. At all, in terms of precedent, in terms of just generally how tall it is. I don't know, we want to make it a little bit more diminutive. Just think.
It was done in a very considered way, but it's more than typical and starts to open.
Yeah, I know. New concept. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know that's not what you want to hear, but.
so.
Oh, we really liked it.
If we had to pick a number for the percentage, what are you trying to get to for a percentage of glass?
I would go to the 20s.
7%.
So
Somewhere in the 20s.
in the 20s, okay.
Any other comments from the board?
Yeah.
Right, this would be, I mean, the percentage is really just, that's not what we're focusing on, it's not a prescribed percentage, it's just that it's an easier way for us to, I think, to explain the character of them.
What about visually? I think visually it's extremely successful, the proportions. And to change those for some gratuitous percentage, I think is, I think it's, I don't think it's right. I think visually it's very strong and successful. I mean, kick me off, but that's how I feel.
Appreciate that. You know, we did design the area that we're speaking about with those larger, those panels, those sliding doors.
Yeah.
They come as a standard kind of unit,
Yeah.
plus 16-foot unit. And we've used the standard size unit for, you know, consideration of cost and availability. But also I think the architectural design of those units and then the metal cladding goes between there to match the windows and doors is also very important. We did a scenario where we had wood material in between and it lost something. So I think that that's something we'll need to consider if we're asked to revisit the amount of glass.
That's what I'm speaking to, the proportions are successful.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Some of us would just like to see another concept of option, that's all. See if it can be pulled down a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Emily?
I agree. I mean,
You agree with what?
I agree that it would be nice to see sizing it down, how you could figure that out, so it's not as much glass.
Again, it's a case of night illumination and glow and all of these things. And I understand that the design is neat, but again, it's thinking within the concept of not taking us out of our historic semi-compassionate sense to the community. Okay?
Right, understood.
We're
So
not necessarily always gonna go with the most high-tech design concepts as opposed to understanding that we're still trying to maintain that community sense.
right. So the
Which might be
visual,
difficult to swallow for some.
no, I actually understand what you're saying. And we've actually taken that into consideration. Because the area that you're looking at would never have any light leakage beyond the property line. Because it's an inner courtyard, it's actually set on the inboard side of a wing of the building that is, you know, along the, let's call it the easterly side, and the west side of the property line is, you know, pretty far away. We've also only put that glass on the first floor of the building.
Right.
And the openings that we're using that are more traditional would be visible above all the plantings. So I think we've done a really good job of kind of creating what you're asking for.
Yeah.
It's really coming down to the number.
Tweaking it, yeah.
Yeah,
Very good. Thank you.
okay. Any other questions?
I think so. No. We good?
No, okay.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, see my concern, is it going to speak one?
This. Yeah. This.
That's what I'm asking, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look at the one, very bottom corner. Right. That's, and it's just. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to look at 105 Proxy Bond. A Pox on both your houses LLC.
We gotta commend you on that, Dave, that's
I insisted.
So good afternoon, my name is Robert Fischetti, I'm the attorney for the applicants, Daniel Torres and Reed. We're here with us, as you know, it's 105 Foxabog Lane, also known as River Lane. This house is just right across the street from Foxabog Pond. It's got a little house opposite, so it's just across road and the pond. So we were here for, as I said, the driveway gates. These are so they are natural unpainted cedars, paintable look. 1-inch wire mesh in between. The columns are 9 inches wide, 5 feet high. Each gate leaf is 4 feet high, 7 feet wide. Pretty minimalist. All parts of the gate leaves are 5 inches wide, except for those lowest horizontal parts are 7 inches wide. Gate leaves 5 inches of ground clearance. The property is 45,000 square feet, so sort of just passed as far as this change in setbacks. So it is required at 40 feet. That is a photo of when it was installed without my clients being aware of rules and everything, so it was removed. But we took a photo before it was removed, and the pillars are proposed, and the gate are proposed to be moved back to 40 feet.
Currently they are where this photograph suggests, correct?
The pillars are, yes, but they're
The posts are.
the posts are, the gates were, the leaves were removed.
Right. You know, I drove by yesterday and I
Oh.
was like, gosh, that doesn't look like 40 feet. Okay.
Yes, and so the gates are put at 40 feet. It also 40 feet is also, I know you like to have them as far back as possible if you see the parking area. It's really about as far back as we can go with the gates opening inward before it starts to interfere with the parking area. So they're put there, and there's no place on this property where they're not going to be visible. It's not super set back. There are vacant properties there's not very many houses on this street, as you know. There's one to the south, and then you gotta go a pretty good ways. Leaves for a lot of vacant space, a lot of deer, trying to control the deer a little bit. They also
Good luck with the 4 foot.
well, I mean, we'd love to have 10 feet, but it's
That's a quick jump.
But it is a bit of a deterrent. There's also a deterrent for children running onto the road or out to the pond, which is just a few steps past. There are some, as you know, north of the highway is sort of a mixed bag of things. There are some driveway gates on Old Farm Road and Greenleaf Lane. Obviously, once you go across the highway, as you get to the ocean, it's not the same story, but Parsonage, there are many gates that are pretty close to the road, pretty visible. But this, is I think a fairly modest, minimal design just to perform the function.
And the posts that are there are a little bit tall, isn't it, correct?
The posts that are there, I think the posts are allowed to be 5 feet, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, they are 5 feet, I believe, right? Exactly.
And then the gates are 4
Yes.
feet at the top.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it possible to pull a Google Earth so we can just see the area view of where it's situated and how close it is to the pond?
And this is cedar clad or cedar? Just all wood?
Yes, all wood.
And no treatment, so you're not painting?
No, it's all natural.
Okay.
So as the board might be aware, I know we haven't seen a gate application in a while. We have 10, no less than 10 criteria. I won't rattle them off unless you want me to in section 245.39. A7D2 of the code.
This needs some more.
We can review them one by one. And to me, I'm not a board member, it's up to the board to make that determination.
It's electric opening or?
Yes, yes.
It looks like gates that we have.
Yes, we were mindful of those code sections. And
Yeah, and they're automatic opening for emergency and.
yes, we spoke to John about the requirements for emergency access.
The ambulance companies appreciate that system because.
Council, what's the lot size over here?
I'm sorry, the lot size? Well, the lot size is 45,000 square, 45,000.
Okay. Any comments?
And how far back is the gate, I'm sorry?
Well, it's proposed to be set back 40 feet from the property line.
Excellent.
I just wanted to say thank you for letting us address you today, and we're very sorry about the mix-up with the rules. It will not happen again. And as he said, the reason is we have a young child at home, another young way, and I'm a little paranoid. I'm sure some of you know how fast they get out of reach into the street. Thank you very much.
And the property is gated all around.
Yes.
Except for this.
Yes.
Well, we're in the process of fixing it, but it very shortly will be gated.
As part of the pool that's being installed, that's for putting in perimeter fencing that will cover the perimeter, and then there will be a gate separating the front yard from the backyard with the.
And the pool will be, you'll also gate it.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
totally mandatory, but the.
Yes.
The frustrating thing is those things and salt and the environment out here, latches will fail in a couple of years. Just keep an eye on it.
Thank you.
Any comments?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make it.
Okay.
I'll make it. I also just want to add, I understand the circumstances. I have 3 kids and you are close to a waterway. And this particular road is not that traveled by, so not a lot of people are gonna see the gate. Normally, I would not want this gate, but the gate looks like hydroponic, and I understand the reasoning behind it. So,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, committee of 2.
what is it?
We cover for.
Yes.
2. You can list again?
Thank you.
Okay, fine? Okay. All right, we can. This memorandum on gates is in the web drive or in the Google Drive or not?
This was in the Google Drive.
This memorandum.
I thought you all had it in your binders.
It's in the binder.
It's in the binders,
It
okay.
is.
I think some of you might be missing it though.
Oh.
I mean, just as an FYI, there is a lot of stuff that the second and third page is more germane to that one application that we were going back and forth over. But the first page really is the long and short of what you need to know for gates.
Right.
I think it might be in the Google Drive, but not in a date.
Okay. Anything else before we adjourn?
No.
I have to finish signing this, sorry. Nice to have you in person with us.
Thank you. No, there.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Anyone? Please, okay, good. So,
Okay.
okay. You're all too eager now, okay.